Hello and welcome to Watch Releases Recap for the week of November 24th until December the 1st. Let's begin with Aquastar and their new Benthos H1. Aquastar is a watch company with a lot of history, but even some watch collectors don't know it well. In 1970s, they had this very popular diver watch called Aquastar Benthos H1. At the time, the size of this diver was outrageous. 46mm diameter, 16mm thickness. This was at the time when a lot of men's watches were under 36mm in diameter. But it had a very good reason for being so big. It had 500 meters of water resistance. A lot of people believe that this was the watch that in fact started this sort of obsession with watches with crazy water resistance, watches with water resistance so high that no humans can survive, yet your watch will still be okay. Quartz crisis wasn't kind to Aquastar and they sort of went out of business for a bit. In 2020 they had resurgence, and now in 2023 they are releasing a new version of Aquastar Benthos. This one is different from the original. If you look at the original, you notice that it has this big orange hand. You would assume that it's a GMT hand, but it's actually a chronograph hand. So this watch back in 1970s used to have a 60-minute mono pusher chronograph. It was a useful function for diving. It was also a very slow, weird chronograph because the hand would rotate once every hour. But it was a cool complication. Well, this new 2023 version does not have that chronograph function, which is too bad. I'm guessing they couldn't get it on budget because as far as I know, there are no mono pusher chronographs that would fit the bill and be cost efficient. So they would have to develop their own movement or a module to an existing movement, which of course adds to the cost of the watch. Now, this new version comes in a smaller case. If you remember, the old one was 46mm. This one is 42mm in diameter. However, it is still a thick boy at 16mm in thickness. So this is not one of these put it on your wrist and forget it type diver watches. It is also made out of 904L stainless steel, the same as Rolex watches. The claim to fame of this steel is that it's more corrosion resistant, and having this type of steel on a watch for around $1,000 is very impressive. Just to round off the specs, the watch also has a 120 click ceramic bezel insert. The bezel is actually loomed, and it is also powered by the ETA 2824-2 automatic movement that beats at 28,800 vibrations per hour, and it has a power reserve of 38 hours. As I mentioned, this one is priced at around $1,000, $1,090 to be exact. That's the pre-order price. That's the price you can pay right now to order the watch. After the pre-order is done, you will be able to buy this watch at the retail price at around $1,400 but that will be in the future. So kind of an interesting release system. The new Doxa SUB 300 beta collection. Doxa is known for their diver watches. They have this very iconic look. They're synonymous with this unique cushion style case. When you see a watch in this case, you can instantly recognize a Doxa. Well, actually, a few months ago, they released this Doxa 300 Beta Shark Hunter. If you remember, it was all matte black case with some 18 karat gold accents, and I personally really loved how that watch looked. I actually featured on one of the episodes in the past. Well, now they have a similar version of this watch in a stainless steel with a ceramic bezel at a much more affordable price. The Shark Hunter was something like $7,000 or $8,000. Yeah, quite a bit. These ones are about $2,400-$2,500 depending if you buy it on a rubber strap or on a stainless steel bracelet. There are 5 different dial and accent variations. 3 of them have black dials with various different colors. In terms of the accents, you have yellow accents, you have orange accents, and you also have these sort of baby blue accents. Then there is the blue dial version with orange accents and a white dial version with orange accents. All of them come in the same case, 42.5mm in diameter, 44.5mm lug-to-lug distance, and under 12mm in thickness. So they actually shrunk down the thickness of these Doxa sub 300 meter watches. Very impressive. They feature 300 meters of water resistance, just like the name would suggest. They're powered by the Sellita SW200 automatic movement that has 38 hours of power reserve and it beats at 4 Hz. As I already mentioned, they come with ceramic bezel inserts as well as ceramic crowns. They have these cushion style cases, so the watches actually wear much better and smaller than they look. And I think the design overall looks cool. I really like what Doxa did here and I really appreciate the price. 2,410 euros on the rubber strap, 2,450 euros on the stainless steel beads of rice bracelet. What's very surprising is that the difference between the rubber strap and the bracelet is only 40 euros. If the difference is so small, of course, go for the bracelet. And actually these Doxa bracelets look great. These watches look fantastic on these beads of rice bracelets. So, great release overall. The MoonSwatch Beaver Moon limited release. So apparently MoonSwatch is still a thing, it's still relevant. They are very smart with their marketing. Basically every month for the last 12 months or so, they were releasing a new version of the MoonSwatch. It was essentially the same watch with slightly different accents, and that's to prey on collectors. If you are a hardcore collector of these watches, you want to collect them all. So you will be there lining up, trying to get your hands on the latest MoonSwatch. This one here is essentially the same thing as the Mission to Moon with a different seconds hand. That's the only difference as far as I can tell. The seconds hand accent has some etching and it also has something in the loom. I can't quite make out what exactly this logo is or what that is. Maybe some of you guys know, please leave a comment in the comment section below. But all I can say is that Swatch is still marketing these watches and people apparently are still buying them. The hope is that this will be the last of these limited releases and in 2024 we can start on the new page without these monthly releases, because come on, that's just predatory behavior at this point. The Breitling Top Time B21 Classic Car Chronograph Tourbillon collection. Breitling is known for their big over-the-top type watches. Even their most famous watch, Navitimer, is this big over-the-top type chronograph. Well, they're also known to have watches that are a little bit more affordable. I'm not talking about cheap because these watches are still very expensive. They're still luxury watches, but they're under $10,000 or around that $10,000 price point. Well, in 2021, Breitling decided to go in that higher tier of watches because that's of course where you make more money, and they introduced their Top Time Classic Car collection. I'm not a huge fan of this collection. I don't know, it doesn't really look right to me. Well, now in 2023, they're releasing 3 new additions in this collection, and these ones are slightly different because for the first time, they feature that tourbillon complication, one of the most useless complications, yet one of the most beautiful complications that you can have on the watch. There are 3 different dials. There's the green one, the blue one, and this sort of brown chocolate one, and they're named after classic American vintage cars. You have Shelby Cobra, you have Chevrolet Corvette, and you have a Ford Mustang. One thing that I found weird is that the Shelby Cobra and the Chevy Corvette have a 44mm case diameter versus Ford Mustang, which has a 43mm case diameter. Why not make them all the same case? I don't know, but that's what Breitling did here. The watches are powered by the caliber B21 Breitling movement that has 55 hours of power reserve and it beats at 28,800 vibrations per hour. This movement is COSC certified. It also features a display case back, of course, and some decorating. The movement is okay, actually. Besides the tourbillon, there's not much else to look at. You have the Breitling logo on the rotor, but nothing else really. Now, these watches are expensive, of course, as you would expect, $47,000 for them. And to be honest, they don't do much for me. I'm not a big fan of the open screws on the dial. I think it kind of matches with the design aesthetic. Are you going for classic or are you going for the rugged and sort of industrial look? But besides that, I'm not a big fan of this design language in general. I just don't find these watches very attractive. But what do you guys think? Let me know, would you spend $47,000 on this Breitling? Moving on to the next release. the new PVD gold collection of Baltic watches. Baltic is a French micro brand. They are breaking out of this micro brand mold quickly. They're becoming more well known. I've actually seen their ads in magazines like Watch Time and many other publications, so clearly they are becoming something more than just a micro brand. Now they have these three popular lines of watches, and as is trend now at the end of 2023, beginning of 2024, they're taking advantage of the gold PVD coating look. I think the gold look in watches is coming back, but of course, executing these cases in pure 18 karat gold or even being gold plated would drive the cost up way too high. So just like many other companies, they opted out for the gold PVD coating instead. There's the Baltic MR01, which is their dress watch with these Arabic numerals, the sub-seconds hand between the 9 and the 6 o'clock position, the classic dress watch dimensions of 36 millimeters in diameter by 44 millimeters in like-to-like distance. These watches are also very thin at 10 millimeters, and I think this watch looks fantastic in a gold case. The next one is Baltic HMS 002. Now this one is their more traditional dress watch, so it doesn't have the sub-dial, it just has a regular seconds hand. You also have applied Arabic numerals, drilled lock holes, and this one comes in a slightly larger case, 38 millimeters, but it's still very thin, and it's a cool looking watch. Lastly, you have the Bicompax 002. This one, just like the other two, is gold PVD coated. It's the same as your regular Bicompax, just in a slightly different case with slightly different accents. I think this one also looks excellent. Just like the HMS, it comes in a 38 millimeter case, 13 millimeters thickness, and it's 47 millimeters like-to-like distance. I actually think that the two cases are identical. It has 50 meters of water resistance, and it is powered by the Seagull ST1901 hand-wound movement. That's why the price of this one is pretty affordable, 565 euros. I think that's a very reasonable price for a mechanical chronograph. The HMS 002 costs 385 euros, and MR01 costs 545 euros, but of course it comes with a Hangzhou caliber 5000A, which has a micro rotor and is a very beautiful movement to look at. I think this is a very cool release, very trendy, and I think we're gonna see these sort of things happen with a lot of other watch brands. I think the gold PVD coated cases is the new blue dial. More and more watch companies are gonna go down this road, and I like it. I'm a big fan of gold cases and gilt writing, things like that. I think it looks very sharp on men's watches. And that's it. Those were the releases for this week that I wanted to highlight. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the YouTube channel so you don't miss more videos like this when they come out. And leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what watch releases stood out to you. I always enjoy reading your comments. Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you next time. Bye.